Welcome to the Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richheimer. We are on chapter 9. We are talking about connecting. This is like so it's so important, so central to what makes us the happiest we possibly be. So we're on chapter 9 in Marriage Secrets, page 209, and I'm going to read a couple of sections, and then we're going to take your questions. So get your questions ready. Okay. Addiction to accomplishing. We're talking now about the balance, the trade-off between accomplishing and connecting. Okay. Addiction to accomplishing. So what is the one factor that causes all of us to chronically neglect those who are most near and dear to us? It is the addiction to accomplishing that has swept the world and unfortunately has carried many of us along with it. Rabbi Leib Kellerman says, being efficient and developing a relationship are mutually exclusive. So I'm going to read that again. Being efficient and developing a relationship are mutually exclusive. There is no such thing as quality time. Magic moments necessarily happen during huge swaths of time well wasted. We've been pressed into the role of the accomplisher without our knowledge or permission, and it costs us connection whether we realize it or not. Nowhere is this degradation of connection felt more keenly than in our own homes. Certainly, our drive to accomplish robs us of precious intimate moments with our children, whereas in days of old, a mother felt perfectly content to sit and do nothing with her children at the park. Now, there's a subtle feeling that she needs to somehow justify her existence by being productive. Thus, she often feels compelled to phone in the grocery order meanwhile or catch up on her emails. Who knows what this perpetual multitasking and lack of full attention is doing to the little developing minds in her care. Yet she is pulled, in fact, driven to do more and be more, much to her own severe detriment. And even though women have historically been geared towards relationships, the political movements that have swept our world have made relating well look like a much lesser attribute than actually doing something productive. As we eyed the CEO job postings, interacting well with others was trumped by the superior qualities of productivity and accomplishment. Perhaps glorification of these traditionally masculine qualities was necessary in that milieu, or even necessary to change that environment from within. But nonetheless, our consummate skill at relationships was relegated to the back seat, and our homes suffered as a result. The truth is, much of the time, we simply won't have any choice but to accomplish rather than to connect. There is simply way too much to do and too little time to do it. We all have piles of things we absolutely must do simply to survive in this world. This book is not meant to blame the victim of our stressed out lives. This is to help open our eyes to the possibility that there might be an alternative choice. Knowing the factors that influence us gives us the power to take a different path if we choose to do so. The question is, even if we are aware of how precious our familiar bonds are to us, how often does that sentiment actually translate into stopping what we are doing and giving family members our full attention? Watch your daily interactions and witness how often we face the choice of connecting or accomplishing. I think you will be quite surprised. Perhaps by having clarity about just how potent the pull to accomplish is, we can, every once in a while, cognitively choose to connect and waste our time bonding with another human being instead, namely our husband. Okay, what you got for me, Gila?
Okay, so Panina asks, when I try and connect with my husband and share with my husband things that I would like to do with him, he gets defensive and says that I have it good in comparison to other husbands. What should I do?
Say you're probably right, but you have it good in compared to other husbands as well. You want me to be better or not? You're good enough, or would you like me to work on being the best me I can be and fulfilling my shlemus? That's a little rude way to say it. So you don't have to go there, but I'm just saying that's what should be in your mind, is that when he says, oh, you got it fine. You're doing good. You're great. We're great. You should feel lucky. You should feel gratitude. That's actually a sign that he's not feeling your gratitude enough. So if you instead of trying to get more from your husband, you shower him with happiness about what he's giving you, even if it's minuscule, even if you wanted more, and even though you're annoyed at him because he's not forthcoming enough or whatever. But if you spend all of your passions and hopes and dreams on showering him with approval and appreciation and gratitude for any little bit of what the things that are deeply most important to you and most important to him. He wants to make you happy. And if you're grousing all the time and complaining all the time and whatever, then he's going to come up with a response like, well, you got it better than most. But if you're showering him, you're so wonderful, you're amazing. And wow, even you did this, and you helped with the kids, and you helped with the kitchen and whatever. And then at that night when I was feeling upset, you said, are you okay, dear? I mean, like, you're taking care of physically, emotionally, spiritually, every way. I'm so grateful to you, right? You just keep showering him. And I guarantee you that when you say you want to connect more, he's going to listen to you differently. And also, maybe don't say, I want to connect more. Maybe just make it happen. Like, after dinner or whatever, say, take your phone and have him watch you shut it off and put it down and say, do you got 5 minutes, or I need to talk to you I want to talk to you for 5 minutes. Are you available now? Or should I come back in half an hour? Like that. Just work on taking actions for it. And you don't necessarily have to convince him and say, oh, let's turn up our whole life upside down because you're not good enough, like that. They're very, very good. Again, we're going to go through more AIDSs, more advices, more tips and ideas on how to accomplish it. And hopefully, again, we're not trying to make a revolution. We're trying to like a drip here, a drip there. And, I understand this, for us to develop in ourselves, to grow that part of ourselves, to want to connect more rather than accomplishing, so we're working on ourselves, we're working on our relationship, little bits here, stay under the radar. I don't want the Yetzer Hara to come and say, stop, you're connecting. I don't want you to connect, so, slowly but surely, one little step at a time. Okay, good. What else you got for me, Gila?
Okay. Ruchama says, it's busy season at work, so my husband leaves at 6 a.m. and comes home at 10 p.m. and I literally never see him. Aww. Since this is just temporary, should I wait to connect to him and spend more time with him when he's more physically available? It's a great question. Or should she try, not lose out on all that time?
I hear it, but Ruchama, my question for you is what happens at 10 o'clock? If you're so exhausted, you're whatever, I don't know what your life is like, but, if you can take an hour or two, an hour and a half, I don't know, there's all kinds of science, how long of a nap, and when you don't feel groggy, if you take this long, you get groggy, that short, cat naps, I don't know, it changes every day, by the way, Def, you didn't notice, so the latest one I heard is 44 minutes, so okay, fine, I tried it, actually, it seemed to work, but who knows, don't take my whatever, because I'm sure by the time you listen to this tape, they'll already have changed it to a different time, but anyway, so the thing is, if you can nap during the day, and when he comes home at 10, spend special time with him, get him, what's he doing for dinner right now? Boy, that I could get in trouble that, well, he can make his own dinner. Yeah, I get it. But, there is one thing that one Gemara and Rebbetzin Kolodetsky, when I was there a few months ago, she said that all of the Gedolim said, what was their greatest, how did they accomplish so much in Torah? And her father, Rav Chaim Kanievsky, and also I think it was the Chazon Ish and the Stipler. I'm bad at remembering those kind of things, but anyway, said that they never had to worry about food. that was how they accomplished what they accomplished in their life, and it's all because of their wife. So it could be the other way around if you're a full-time worker and he's a stay-at-home dad or whatever. So I'm not getting into politics, I stay away from politics, but I do follow our Masorah, and our Masorah is that if a woman is taking care of that aspect of it, and her husband knows, even if she's ordering pizza or making macaroni and cheese or whatever, when he walks in the door, there's something, so if he's coming home at 10 o'clock and making his own dinner and he's doing that all week long, there's a issue of connection. And even if it is that you take a nap during the day and you're up at 10 o'clock when he comes home and you have a full-time job and you've got this and whatever, and you hire a babysitter or trade with it, and says, oh, I can't afford whatever. Okay, I hear that. So you watch your friends, your neighbors' kids on Tuesdays, and on Thursdays she watches yours on Thursday night or whatever, figure out a way to do it that doesn't cost money. But what I'm saying is, if you are so harried that at 10 o'clock you're falling on your face, get a babysitter to come and help you after school and get the kids to bed or whatever it is, do bath time, something like that. Get somebody to help you so that you can nap during the day and you can be there for your husband at night, and preferably feed him. And even if it's a bowl of cereal, even if, or if he makes his own dinner and you stand there, like this and watch him, whatever, be with him. That's the answer to that question, because leaving it to, oh, well, we connect on Shabbos, that's not going to be sustainable. And especially as, the kids empty nest and, whatever, that there's no, you can't rebuild that foundation after the fact. You can't live with somebody for 20 years one way and then all of a sudden, like, who is this person? So you need to keep that connection. I mean, it's your own box. Okay, but not too much to worry about. Just try one little step at a time. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Maybe even if he has a lunch break, she could speak to him during that time or sometime throughout the day.
Good idea.
Or have dinner with him in the office if it's not too far.
Yeah, okay. That's good. Leah, you're fantastic. You've heard every tip I've ever given for the last 20 years. This is good.
Okay. Tamar asks, unfortunately, due to some difficult life challenges, my husband has become a good old grouch. It's been so hard to connect to him when he's just so unpleasant to interact with. Should I just hope this is a temporary phase he'll come out of? What can I do when I know I can't change him?
Mm-hmm. So grouchiness is a little bit contagious. So, I'm sorry for that. But there's always something a wife can do, as we always say, and this is not Leah Richheimer's really brilliant idea. This is Chazal teach us this, there's always something a wife can do to make it better. And it's not going to be perfect, maybe, and maybe it's not, maybe it'll only be 1% better, but a woman can do that. So if your husband is grouchy, when he maybe is in a slightly better mood, or when he's, maybe after he's slept and eaten, and, after Shabbos nap, or nap, if you have a half an hour before he goes to shul, something like that, you might say to him, I know, that people go ups and downs and they have their life, whatever. And there's times that are more difficult and easier or whatever. And I wouldn't call him a grouch, by the way. I would say, and I realize you're going through a hard time, and lately, last few months, last few years, whatever, that you've been going through a hard time. And I really don't know how to be with that. I don't know how to support you through it. Like, if you were to tell me, if you brought me chocolate chip cookies, I that would help me, or if you, went for a walk with me, or if you just stayed out of my hair, or if you asked me how I was feeling, or, there's 10 different things that could help you. I don't know any of them. And I feel like, it's my job to take care of you. And I feel like I don't know how. So can you think of anything? And he's a guy. He's going to say, oh, no, it's fine. Just leave me alone. Just ignore me, whatever. And be a little persistent and say, I have to do something. So I don't care what you're going to tell me. I have to do something. You say, yes, if you go in the other room where I don't see you and you do 10 jumping jacks, that will help me. I will do those 10 jumping jacks. I'm serious. I'm really serious about this. I want to be there for you. I want to support you. And that alone might help him with his grouchiness, just knowing you got his back. But don't count on that. Really try and figure out what actions. And you might be smarter. Women are more intuitive. They're B'nai Sarah. They have more, you have more intuitive understanding of what might work. So before you meet with him and talk to him about this, you might make a list of 20 ideas that you have that might help him. Like, what if I, I know you had wanted, I got this gift of $500, for when I had a round number birthday, and everyone chipped in, and I have $500 sitting in the bank. And what if I gave that to you? Would that ease your stress? I'm making this crazy ideas up, but I'm just saying, think outside the box, get creative, think about what in the past might have worked to get him out of a bad mood or out of a grouchy state of affairs in his life. Or maybe it's if he's having these issues at work, maybe, listen, I'm friends with the boss's wife. Do you want me to go have dinner with her? Go and take her out to lunch and schmooze with her, and say, yeah, it's a real hard time for my husband. And, and without, I won't say anything that would jeopardize anything, but do you want me to do that? Do you want me to, whatever it is, think outside the box and take full responsibility for helping with this. Can you imagine if you were the grouchy one and you're having a rough time and your husband came to you with that? Like, what can I do to help you? Tell me, make a list. What can I do to support you? You'd be like, oh, now guys are different. They're not going to say, oh, but they might say, well, no, nothing. But deep down, they're saying, oh, anyway. Okay. What's our next question, Leah?
Okay. Rachel asks, how do I softly encourage my husband to seek couples counseling with me? Whenever I've brought it up, he gets so upset and defensive of his behavior.
Right. This is like welcome to Men 101, So good luck with that. So the only thing that actually I found works, maybe ask around, maybe there's other you have other people in your life who you can get advice from. But what really tends to work is if you go yourself to therapy, find somebody and then have them help you figure out how to get your husband there. That tends to, I've seen that work numerous times. And it might be that the therapist you go to doesn't end up being the couples therapist, because if the husband doesn't like her or he wants a man or, whatever, but it's very hard to get a husband into therapy across the board. I've never seen it be easy. I guess if it was easy, they wouldn't have come to me and asked me, what do I do? So I guess, it's a self-selected audience. But in any case, the point is that, I think that it's not an easy thing. And it doesn't mean anything when he doesn't love you. He doesn't, whatever. It's just they feel like I can do it myself, or worse, they think it's your problem. So if you go to a therapist and you say to your husband, listen, I really think that I'd like us to have a better relationship. And, I know I brought it up and it just annoys you and upsets you. So, I think maybe I will go, and at least maybe it'll help me to figure out how to have a better marriage, even, and it could be that they say, no, you need to go to couples therapy or something like that. But I thought that might be a good start, if that would be okay with you. And the reason you say if that would be okay with you, because if a guy has to pay for it and he has to live with you coming home from a therapy session, and at people who have go through therapy, it's kind of like, when you're going and you're introspecting and you're looking, it's work. And sometimes let's say you're a happy-go-lucky person. Well, when you're going introspection and, looking at, I didn't realize that I invalidate my husband, or I don't make him feel, I don't respect him enough, or whatever. You can get down on yourself. What people have to realize when they're growing is that, here we are and here's where we want to be. And as long as you're heading in the right direction, going up, you know what I'm saying? Like, pat yourself on the back. Because what usually happens when you realize you're not doing something wrong, and I get this all the time with Married Secrets, is when you realize you're doing something, you just beat yourself up. Like, I can't believe how much I disrespected my husband. I can't believe I'm never gratitude to him. I'm always mad at him. And I don't have I yell at him all the time. I don't have a safe environment in the home. And we sit there and we take these big bats and we bonk ourselves over the head, across the back, whatever. We beat ourselves up so severely. And what we don't realize is, wow, we're the 0.01% of the people who are looking ourselves in the mirror and trying to get better. That's called a boss aliyah. So instead of a bat, we should be taking our hand, pat, pat, pat. Good on you. Okay, you realize you're disrespectful. Good girl. You realize that you interrupt every day, every sentence he says. Good girl. You realize that. Once you can recognize that, that's how you can grow. And the definition of growth is introspection, right? Insight, plus action is equals personal growth. So you got the insight now. Good on you. Don't beat yourself up with that. Use the getting that insight to give you forward momentum to create actions. Now respect him. Okay, for the last 20 years, you told him he was an idiot. You realize, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I should have said you're a wonderful husband. Whatever it is, work on taking actions. Excellent point. Excellent questions. Okay, let's go.
Okay, time for one last question. Bracha asks, I have a very intense job on top of taking care of the house and the children. I'm so exhausted when my husband comes home and find myself getting annoyed at him that he needs me to talk to him and listen to him. What do I need to do to change my outlook? I don't see myself being able to take something off my schedule or shoulders.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, the first thing that's coming to mind is a little bit of a toughie because you can't change your logistics, which is kind of annoying. But the first thing that come to mind is that you're understanding that your number one job, more than anything else you're doing, is listening to your husband and being there for him. And being a Zezer Kenegdo, that's like the gracious thank you. That's the first thing that you got we're defined by is being an Ezer Kenegdo. If you realize and recognize that that's your number one job, when you do it, right, and you're listening to him and you're so frustrated, when you do it, if you realize that listening to him right now is your number one job, and by listening to him, that horribly annoying thing that happened at work where the lady who is like your underling, she went to your boss and told them something about you that wasn't true and whatever. And you're like, steam is coming out your ears because you're so upset and frustrated and don't even know what to do and feel powerless in the situation, right? Been there, done that, everybody, right? And you're just like, oh, there's nothing I can, right? You're listening to your husband in that moment and stopping everything you're doing, stopping your mind from being in 14 different places and just being there for him. You're going to walk into work. The bracha that comes from that is unbelievable in this world and the next. You're going to walk into work the next day and your boss is going to call you and that lady into the room. And she's going to give that lady hell and say, you're saying Russian horror about this lady who's been with us for 10 years. I don't know. I'm living my fantasy world. I'm showing my vindictive side. But anyways, I hope you're understanding. Okay, I'll make a better, more elevated. See, I also can have personal growth and be better. So you're going to go to work the next day and that woman who was so horrible is going to come into your office and apologize, and tears are going to stream down her face, and she's going to say, I'm so sorry. I'm having a hard time in my home life or whatever, and I took it all out on you, and I already went to your boss and apologized and said it's not true, and I'm so sorry. Will you forgive me, and is there anything I can do to make your life better? In fact, here's a $50,000 to free your trouble. Okay, was that a better answer? So anyways, the point I'm making is that if you do what Hashem wants the most of you, which is to focus on Shalom Bayis and focus on your husband and take care of your husband, so much bracha will pour into your home that all the other things that are niggling you and bothering you and whatever, Hashem will help you. It's guaranteed. This isn't like, oh, that's a fun, nice idea. No, this is guaranteed. We have 220 Torah sources that talk about how much bracha comes if you focus on Shalom Bayis. So good luck with it. Let me give you guys the homework for this week is one time this week when you are busy doing other things, completely focus on your husband and think in your mind about, you can actually, if you look, you'll see the curtains billowing with the bracha that's pouring into your house from Shemayim. Okay, this is Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show. We'll see you next time. We're in the middle of Connection Chapter 9, and we'll see you next time. If you want more, we have so much more. If you want to learn our Masorah and have an awesome marriage, the first thing we have is a coaching program. If you are awesome with people and you want to know the Masorah better than 99% of the people on the planet Earth, like for reals, okay? It's a 4-month program. It's very intense. We have major scholarships and we have somebody who's granted in a lot to pay for a big bulk of it. It's still a little expensive, but for what you get, and then you can start charging money to know it. That's the coaching program. Don't miss it. Go to www.ladiestalkshow.com. We do retreats. We do all kinds of stuff. You'll find it there. www.ladiestalkshow.com. Thanks for being with us. Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show.